and welcome to Soulful. All right. Hello again. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Drew, and this is Soulful. And I'm feeling pretty serene, pretty mellow in this moment, which comes as a direct result of participating in a sweat lodge yesterday and getting cooked something fierce. Yeah, it was a hot one. I mean, it was like a 90 plus degree day with humidity. And then, yeah. And then a select few of us decided it would be a good idea to crawl inside a small, dark, hot space and sweat. Yeah. It's always fun to scope out and realize how half the things I do are pretty ridiculous. But can't argue with the results. So, yeah, we sweat yesterday. It was beautiful. And I'm feeling pretty mellow. Pretty serene and centered today. There's a little excitement present as well with the book coming out this week. Yeah, just feeling really right here, right now kind of vibe. So that's me in this moment. And we got 3 new episodes for you this week in this batch. And so I shall provide a game plan, an outline, as I do for these episodes. And when I'm done, with the intro part of this episode, then I'm going to share with you all a little bit about the creative process and struggles related to that. Yeah, I feel like this will be a cool opportunity for me to just share honestly about what it's been like pulling the book together and doing the podcast so far and everything that comes with that. So it'll be nice for me to share honestly. I think also there'll be some pretty relatable stuff here for folks that, well, for some of y'all that do creative stuff, but really for anybody who's out here trying to human these days. So that'll be the content for this episode. And then next episode, I'm going to share in depth about the Sweat Lodge. A little bit of background, my history with it, the role that it's played in my journey and why I love it. So we'll get sweaty next episode. And then I think that'll be a nice then transition into the third episode for this wave, episode 13 overall, where I'm going to share about practical spirituality. And I think, that'll be a bit of a journey through like early spirituality into like a more mature spirituality as I have understood the journey and lived it. So, so that's the game plan. 3 episodes. That should flow nicely into each other. And cool. So we'll just drop into talking about the creative process here. And I'm excited to share. Because, man, it's hard to create stuff. And especially over the first 10 episodes. of the podcast here, I've definitely been hitting a lot of turbulence, and it's familiar turbulence, similar stuff that I bumped into over the last like however many years trying to write a book, and then finally bringing my focus to the cornerstones and pulling that together. Like, I know that I'm born to create, or that like creativity is part of my most honest expression. Like, I have an artist's soul. But man, is it hard sometimes. Yeah. Just a lot of inner turbulence, a lot of inner resistance that comes up. And I'm aware that a lot of it is the result of stuff I've accumulated, right, over the course of my life. But it lives in my head now. And that's where the battleground is a lot of the time. Yeah. Rarely do I find any like resistance or judgment or negative feedback externally. I mean, really, if anything, I get tons of love and support that I'm so grateful for and so appreciative for. Because when folks reach out and they're like, oh, this is cool, or I like that podcast, or like, oh, I love this video. Yeah, it acts as a really nice countering energy to some of the inner turbulence that can spin up. Yeah, so feel free to send all your love and support in all of the ways whenever you would like. It's very much appreciated. And it also helps me, continue to show up and persevere and push through some of the resistance and the noise that can become a part of my experience sometimes. Yeah, I definitely struggle with a very critical, judgmental energy that can show up. The inner critic, some folks will name it as. I mean, there's been episodes already in the first 10 of the podcast here that I think I've attempted 20 plus times. Like, I'll, start recording, and then 2 minutes in or 5 minutes in, maybe I say something in a way that I don't love, and then this like fierce judgmental energy will just shut me down, and I lose my mojo. So I hit stop or pause or delete or whatever it is, and then try to kick it back on again. And then like 2 hours later, when I still haven't recorded a single full episode, I'll just quit for the day, because I just ain't got no mojo left. Yeah, man. Very critical energy, judgmental energy that'll show up in my system. That again, it's, like speaking in my voice, we could say, or it's in my head, but it doesn't really feel like it's honestly me. It feels like noise that I've picked up over the years, or conditioning that has imprinted on my being or my mind. And I think today I'm much better at being able to navigate it. Like, I'll still get shut down sometimes and lose my mojo, like I said, but I mean, there were years in the past where, I couldn't do anything. Just normal everyday life stuff without that negative, critical energy just beating me up in my own head all the time. Yeah. These days, it's not around as much on the day-to-day, but when I start to invest in more creative, expressive projects, then that negative, critical energy comes back pretty fierce. Sometimes. And I've noticed a correlation too between like having a plan and having expectations for what I want to do creatively, and then how quickly or how strongly that negative critical energy shows up. So an example, the last 4 episodes I did on the cornerstones. Like, I knew I wanted to record those, and I had a game plan and a structure, and also like aligning doing cornerstone content with the release of the book, right? So there's some definite expectations and vision for that. And yeah, man, and it was it was tough. Like almost having the plan or having the expectation almost activates then the resistance and the criticism and the judgment and the, yeah, like that perfectionist kind of energy. So yeah, those last 4 episodes were tough to get through. But I've been looking forward to this episode for since last week at least, where I can just share honestly about how much of a struggle it is sometimes to create. And sharing honestly, I don't feel like that's as much of a struggle for me. Like, as I'm sitting here reflecting, I think the greatest struggles come from when I am trying to do something a certain way, right? Or I have a certain idea about how it should be or how it should look. Yeah, that's when the most resistance shows up. Huh. That's a cool connection to make right there. Right. Because I mean, that applies to life too. Like I suffer the most in life when I am trying to force the flow into certain directions or certain projects or certain outcomes. And and then life is actually way cooler and way easier when I'm just allowing the blessings to flow in whatever way they're showing up. Yeah. See, I love this stuff, man. Just sharing honestly, and then cool insights show up. Yeah, I felt like with the last 4 episodes, I lost myself a little bit in a plan and then a little bit of a performance energy too. And that is a common theme as well in my life and in creative projects. Like I have an idea about how I'm supposed to be, and then I try to be that, and and then shit gets weird. And there was a lot of that energy in the Drive About podcast, right? The last one I did. So coming into this experience, it was definitely on my mind, and I'm glad I'm touching into it again now. Like I don't want to perform for y'all. I don't want to perform for anybody. I mean, like I'm fun and I can get going sometimes, and I can be entertaining, and sometimes that's fun. But when that performance energy is consistently showing up in my experience, it's again, there's like a lot more resistance. There's a lot more critical, negative energy. But it's something that's been a part of my life for a long time. My social anxiety would actually turn into more of like kind of a performance expression. Right? And everybody's a little different. So some of us, we get into certain social situations and we kind of withdraw or find some place to hide. But for me, I would like turn on and then be a show. And people enjoy it, but it's not really an authentic expression of me, right? Like it's not really me. It's a version of me performing to avoid feeling certain feelings or out of a desire to try to control a situation and control people's moods. And again, like it's cool, it's fun, and I don't mind doing it like sometimes, but to like live on stage like that, I did it for a couple decades, and it's tiring, it's exhausting, and it's not honest. So, I just want to be myself. I just want to hang out, enjoy the company of awesome people who also enjoy my company. And part of what I bring to the table is occasionally being silly and ridiculous and, facilitating shenanigans. But that's not all of who I am. And that's definitely not the frequency I want to be living on all the time. And really, I don't want that frequency to become, too much a part of this podcast journey. Yeah, man. Just want to be me, whatever I am, as it comes, as it flows. And so it feels good to name all this and share this with y'all. And I've hit a lot of these similar hurdles with the book too. Yeah. I mean, again, for years, I couldn't even get started with a book about anything. Which is such a such a painful, frustrating process to like know in your heart of hearts that you're supposed to be creating in a particular way, or like I knew I needed to be writing something. And I would sit down to the computer screen and and just nothing. Or I'd write like a sentence or two and then hate it and then delete it all. And so I feel like there were years that I wanted to write a book, and all the energy and the expectation around that just made it impossible to do anything in that direction. But thanks to the ever evolving journey of recovery and healing and just being more myself, some space opened up that then allowed for more of the ideas to come forth and come through and get organized. But yeah, there were a couple years where it was tough, man. Just like hitting walls without even like going anywhere. Just like boom, oh, that's a wall. Boom, oh, there's another wall, with zero momentum gained. Really, I think I started writing like smaller stuff. Well, I'll say it like this. So I've written poetry my whole life. And I love playing with words and rhythms and rhymes. And I love playing with the written language and expressing myself in that. Also, poetry is good for the ADHD energy, because you only got to write, 20, 30, 40 lines max. You don't have to hold on to an idea forever. So poetry has always been available. And then over the last couple years, I've put a little bit more of a focused energy into writing prose, or like writing stories, really. And that's allowed me to hold on to an idea and then go with it for a little bit longer. And so I think my writing, went from poetry into shorter stories, and then that opened the door for finally getting like a whole book together. And this book isn't like a epic work of literature. It's a guidebook for a system for how to invest yourself in different ways that will return cool experiences on your investment. So it's very practical, very grounded, with a couple stories mixed in for fun. But writing the book was definitely a chore at times. Yeah, it was like alternatingly exhilarating and very purposeful at times, and then and then a chore. And there were many occasions where I would have to step outside and scream loudly at the sun or the moon or whatever. I may have thrown things occasionally. I didn't break any keyboards or mice in the writing of this book, though, which is actually a huge accomplishment, because I used to I used to keep an extra keyboard. When I had my first center in my first office, I had a extra keyboard I would keep in the closet at all times, because sometimes I would just lose it. And apparently keyboards were what I would take my frustrations out on. Yeah, there was something very like satisfying about watching all the separate individual keys just fly everywhere. Yeah. And when I moved out of that center, I remember when I was cleaning out, I would find like random keys behind the desk and behind the file cabinet. It's nice to recognize when there has been growth. So no keyboards or mice were harmed in the writing of the Cornerstones book, which I feel like is a great success. Yeah. And I'm excited for the book to come out. If you're listening to this on Monday, the book comes out tomorrow. Or whenever you're listening to this, the book comes out Tuesday, July 9th. And you can get it on Amazon, and I'll be putting links all over the interwebs. So it should be an easy grab if you're interested. Yeah, and then maybe we'll wrap this up here just talking about what I've learned from participating in the creative process through a variety of projects. And for me, like being creative, it's a delicate balance, man. Like there has to be space and openness for flow, but there also has to be a certain like dedication and discipline and perseverance to returning to the project. And if there's too much flow, then I'm doing like 20 projects and nothing actually gets done. and also if I have too much discipline, if I'm coming too hard at it, then there's no space for the magic to show up. And so, it's definitely a blend, a mix, a balance of discipline, structure, dedication, perseverance, and surrender, allowance, and opening, right? And allowing for space. Which, again, perfectly applies to life. Because life is just creation, right? Like as we're living, we are literally life creating new moments with new dynamics all around us, through us, as us. So it would make sense that anything we learn from creative projects and processes would apply to life itself. And so I think the coolest thing that I've learned as I've leaned more into honoring my artist soul is how to honor the rhythms and the systems of me or my being, or however we want to say it. Because sometimes I have the juice for really like crushing something and being dedicated and spending hours just getting it done. And sometimes I don't. And sometimes I have the bandwidth or the availability for inspiration to come through or imagination to really play and create. And sometimes I don't. And when I've tried to will myself through a process the way I think it should go, it's always harder. The mud is always thicker. The resistance is always like nastier and heavier. But the more experience that I've gotten in creativity or being creative, the more I've realized how valuable it is to be able to recognize and honor the rhythms and the systems and the seasons of our being. And so to kind of ground that and give you examples, like sometimes I'm in a mood where I want to play and create without rules, right? Like sometimes that energy's present, and that's where like brainstorming and pulling ideas out of the ethers is very available, very easy. And so for me, those are the times when like I will, like let whatever wants to speak come through, and just brainstorm a ton of ideas. And I have like pages of ideas for projects, and I'll just add to it constantly. Like I think I have probably like 100 episode ideas for the podcast, because in these more open flowing moments, they just download, they just come through real easy. So I just put them down, and I don't worry about in that moment with that energy really flushing it out or fleshing it out. One of those words is right. I think it's fleshing it out. In those moments when the energy's flowing and I'm open and receiving, I just get stuff down. Because I've learned that that energy isn't always available, and I can't just like snap of my fingers access the infinite like that. So when the door's open, I let it flow. And then when that energy has finished or the muse has left, then, right, in a different season or at a different point in the rhythm or the cycle, an energy shows up that's much more friendly to fleshing out the ideas or coming up with structures or, detailing things. Right? Like there's a more linear energy that is available for me at different points. And then also sometimes, I got a grinder mentality that'll show up, or kind of like, a perseverant, like nothing's going to stop me kind of energy. And that comes in bursts. And so in being able to learn about myself and recognize more of my rhythms and seasons and flavors and cycles, I've now become better at honoring whatever energy is present to then do whatever the tasks are or allow for whatever needs to be done in that moment in alignment with that energy. And so that means that not a lot of my creative projects are done linearly, right? Like I don't work on one thing at a time. I'm working on like 17 things at a time. But I've learned how and when to work on different projects. And that's made the whole process so much easier. And so, if you ever find yourself, navigating writer blocks or dry spells, or, if you're feeling uninspired, or if you're feeling like super inspired and, and you don't know what to do with all of the ideas or energy that's coming, you're not alone. I dig it. I can relate. And I would just, strongly encourage you to put some of your energy into learning about yourself, right? So that you can get a feel for when you're shifting gears or when energies are coming or going in your system. And then, and then you can honor them when they show up. I've also learned that like at different times of the day, I'm more or less available for certain energy. I've also learned that if I do things in certain orders, it's helpful for me. Right? So like if I do, another example, if I wake up in the morning and I get right into some more detailed oriented work, I'm probably not going to get visited by some expansive creative energy that day. Right? So then that's a kind of grinding day and a more detail oriented kind of linear flow. Whereas some mornings, I'm in my morning meditation and and like all of the beings in the universe are trying to talk with me at one time. And so I'll get up, when I'm done with the meditation and then just free write, just get down the 75 different ideas that are coming through. And then that gives me something to do when then I'm more linear and more, and that like kind of grinding, get it done kind of mojo. All right. Yeah, it feels good. Cool. I like it. So a little bit of honest sharing, some cool insights maybe, some relatable struggles and stories. And again, I don't know that we're supposed to overcome all of the adversity. Adversity plays a really key role in art of all forms and flavors. Like the blues is the perfect example, or the sad songs we listen to, or the epic stories and dramas and tragedies of human history. Like adversity and struggle is just part of the experience, it seems. And I thought for a long time that I was doing something wrong by struggling a lot. But these days, there's a greater recognition that that's just part of the diversity of experience. And so, can I honor whatever it is that shows up and roll with that until something else shows up? And so, like in this moment, this episode, this experience gets to come through as a result of all the struggles, which is pretty cool. And the struggles are also very much a part of the Sweat Lodge experience as well. More on that next episode. But this feels like a good spot to wrap things up. So thanks for listening. Thanks for being you. Be gentle with yourself. You deserve it. Be kind with yourself and all the other knuckleheads, because we all deserve it. And if you have a creative project you've been sitting on or stuck in, you're not alone. Maybe don't force it. Sometimes a step back allows for a bunch of steps forward. We can get creative about how we deal with our creative blocks, right? Like if we're just stuck on an outcome or focused on where we're trying to get to, or the expectations, yeah, it's easier to get stuck in the process. But if we can kind of let go of where we think we're going or where we need to be, that allows us to show up here now with the experience as it is, in a more present, compassionate kind of way. And a lot of times that's exactly the energy that will open up a block or send us off in a cool new direction. So, cool. All right. I'm going to be really done this time. Love y'all. And I'll see you a little further down the road.